returned, and welcome to the Hawaii Preserve. My name is Professor Ron, and I am so happy to have you joining our team. I started my career at ZooTampa at Lowry Park many years ago, and I am so proud for the work that we've been able to do together here at the preserve. Not only do we conduct our own groundbreaking research, but we also partner with other conservation groups to protect wildlife and wild places. By completing our internship program, you can make a difference too. In just a moment, you will load into one of our research trucks to embark on your own intern orientation. You will have a very experienced safari driver at the wheel, and you will be accompanied by one of our highly trained research assistants. They will use this expedition as your introduction to the animals under our care here, and get you prepared to assist with all of the amazing conservation and education projects that we are engaged in here at the Hawaii Preserve. When your research assistant tells you, please load the trucks in a calm and orderly fashion, one person at a time. Watch your head and your step as you climb the steps and slide all the way down to the end of your row, so we can make room for all of the other interns joining us today. On the expedition, you may get very excited about all of the amazing things you see, but please make certain to remain seated and keep your hands, arms, legs, wings and tails in the truck at all times. Please take as many photos as you want on the expedition, but keep a tight hold on your camera and all other personal belongings, as the roads may get a bit bumpy. If you do lose anything out on the trail, please let my research assistants know at the end of the expedition, and we will send out a team to find and return to you your lost item. We also ask that you refrain from eating, drinking, or smoking while out on the preserve for the health and safety of our animals. Now, are you ready to go explore, study, and connect with nature?
Are you guys ready?
Did you hear that? I need to get started on today's observations right away. Tell your research assistant I have to run ahead, and I'll meet you out on the preserve.
My name's Sarah. I'm going to be your research assistant for today. Professor Ron did go ahead and head out, so we'll try to meet him there. We're joined by our highly skilled driver, Julia. Everyone wave hello to Julia. She's going to be guiding us on our journey for today. We're going to be passing through quite a few gates, so I want to remind everyone that we keep everything inside the vehicle at all times, especially the things that you'd like to leave here with today, because otherwise we're all going to raise our hands, turn to the side, and wave goodbye. Just kidding, that's a joke. You can tell me after. Looks like we've got the all clear from Hawaii Control, so we're going to head out. Everyone wave goodbye to the other interns. Bye, interns. You won't see them for 6 weeks, but you will see me. Turn to the other side and wave goodbye to Connor for sending us out safely. Bye, Connor. Thank you. Professor Ron studies the ways that animals communicate with each other out here on the preserve. They all have unique ways, and it's part of their daily life. We're going to be looking for our golden potus monkeys here on the passenger side of the vehicle. Now, everyone go ahead and take a really good listen. You'll hear absolutely nothing, and that's because they communicate through visual representation. So they'll use things like facial expressions and body postures, so that they're unheard by their predators. However, if they are heard, they can run about 30 miles per hour in as little as 3 seconds. They are the greyhounds of the savannah. Oh, it looks like we're coming up on our amazing exotic Hawaii Preserve. I talked about this. Julia, Julia, cut the music. I like this song. You're gonna scare us. Okay. We don't do that internship anymore, so please don't worry. However, if you do see some stragglers, let me know. Keep everything inside the vehicle for me. Everything inside. This is going to be a free roaming area, which means that all the animals in here can go anywhere they'd like. Some of their favorite activities include hiding. Second, they also like to hide. And third, they sprinkle in a little bit of hide and seek. That's right. So we're going to be looking for a few species of antelope here that use this vegetation around it to survive. The first one we're going to be looking for is something called an East African bongo. However, before we do that, everyone please turn and look at this big red barn. Get familiar with it. That's where you're sleeping tonight. The first antelope we're going to be looking for is the East African bongo. Now, the East African bongo is going to be a mahogany color with white stripes going down it. Now, that type of coloration helps it break up inside the greenery so that it camouflages and we can't see it anymore. Now, does everyone know what sound a cow makes? Perfect. Oh, we love that. Good job. Now, the East African bongo moos as well. That's how they communicate to their young. They also have other noises that they make, but particularly the mooing. Everyone make sure that we're staying seated. Oh, it's right here on the driver's side. That's what our East African bongo looks like. We'll actually get another one coming up in this brush right there. Now, East African bongos are highly endangered. There's only about 150 left out in the wild. They are part of something called an SSP, which is a species survival program, in which we match two together, put them into breeding. And then we have a lot of genetic diversity for generations to come. The second species of antelope we're going to be looking for is something called a yellow-backed diker, which is a smoky charcoal-colored antelope. It's about hip high, and it's got a yellow stripe going right down its back, and that hair is going to be a little bit longer than the rest of its body. I think we're going to make a quick stop to let this East African bongo cross. However, the yellow-backed diker has that yellow stripe going down its back. Anytime it feels threatened, its hair will stand straight up. We call it its danger mohawk. Make sure we're sitting. Sit down for me, buds. Sit down for me and stay inside, please. Thank you. You can see another one actually here munching. So yes, the yellowback diker is actually, sometimes it's a little bit more nocturnal, so you might not actually get a glimpse of it out here. Its name does come from the Afrikaans language, diker. The word diker means diver or bush diver is what it does when it feels threatened. It dives into the bushes and you might not ever see it again. The last animal that we're going to be seeing is Odette. She is our shoebill stork here on the preserve. Now, shoebill stork is a little bit of a misleading name because they're more closely related to the pelican, as you can probably tell. Shoebill storks are typically silent. However, during mating season, they will take that big, huge beak, clap it together, and it's so loud that sometimes it's mistaken as a helicopter rotor. So if you want to check that out, YouTube's got plenty of videos. They can grow up to be about 5 feet tall, and they nest on top of water and vegetation. Coming through more gates, please keep everything inside the vehicle. We are joined by a tree, however. Now, have you already seen 2 gates? Yes. Now, we have these gates here for a very specific reason. As you have already observed, there's tons of vegetation in that part of the preserve. And that vegetation is widely used by the species we have in there in order to survive and thrive. We have other animals out here on the preserve that if they were to go in there, they'd eat all of it within a matter of hours. So we're going to make sure we keep them safe. Coming up, we actually have our first base camp Kalinda. Professor Ron uses these base camps throughout the preserve in order to record his research and findings. This one he works with the Okapi Conservation Project, so I'll let him tell you a little bit more about it. Professor Ron! Does anybody see him? Professor Ron! More like Professor Don. Oh, hey, that's a good one. He's not in the trees either, so let's just give him a call and see where he's at. Professor Ron, this is Research Assistant Sarah. I'm here with the new interns at Base Camp Kalinda, and I don't see you anywhere. What's your location? Over.
Hi there. It's good to hear from you. I was trying to wait for you guys, but I just saw the coolest thing ahead in the brush. I had to follow it to see what it was. You guys have got to get up there. It's incredible.
Okay. Alright, well, I think I do know what Professor Ron might have found. We've been tracking an okapi in the area for quite a few weeks, so let's all hope that he did find it. Alright, Julie, if you want to go ahead and move forward, we can try and catch up to Professor Ron. Now, okapis are solitary animals, so solitary, which means that they like to live on their own. So solitary, we'll see a bay biker actually on the driver's side. Okapi are solitary animals, like I was saying before. Western scientists didn't actually recognize the okapi as a species until 1901. And we didn't actually get a picture of them out in the wild until 2008, so over a century later. If you want to go ahead and take a quick look at the trees that we have here, you'll see red marks. That's because okapi like to mark their territory, so they'll rub their neck up against it and leave that red residue. We are going to have an okapi sighting today, so that's really exciting. You want to move forward just a little bit more, and then we can stop right there. That's probably good. So that's our okapi. Taking a quick look. Yes, everyone on the passenger side, if you want to stand up and look, you're more than welcome to. Taking a quick look, what do you guys think it might be related to? A zebra. Okay, that's a really good guess, but it's most closely related to the giraffe. In fact, its only living relative is the giraffe. You see those horns on top of its head, called ossicles. Those are hardened bones coming out of its skull, and it's got a really long tongue that looks just like a giraffe. All right, if everyone wants to take their seats, we can move on with the tour. Julia, you're more than welcome to move forward. So an okapi, like I was mentioning, is a solitary animal, but we're going to be moving on to a more social animal, which means it just prefers to have friends. We're going to be looking for our African painted dogs out here. Now, African painted dogs can live in packs of up to 40 members. Although they are cute and cuddly, you'll see one right here at the edge. Although they are cute and cuddly, they're actually one of the best hunters in the entire savannah. They have an 80% success rate. Make sure we're sitting down. Make sure we're sitting down. They have an 80% success rate in hunting compared to a lion, which is only about 20% chance success. Professor Ron does work with the African Painted Dog Research Trust in order to go out for weeks at a time on the savannah to study them and further the information that we have in order to protect them. Coming up, we have our Rhino Night House on the driver's side, which is a good indication we're coming up on Base Camp Ward. Now at Base Camp Ward, Professor Ron partners with the International Rhino Foundation in order to protect all species of rhino that are currently living. So I'll let him tell you a little bit more. He's not here either, so his chair is knocked over and his hat is still here and his research vehicle is gone. So we're going to give him one more call, just make sure he's doing okay. Professor Ron, this is Research Assistant Sarah. I'm once again here with the interns at Base Camp Ward, and I don't see you anywhere. Are you doing okay? Over.
I'm doing great. I was just checking in on our pack of painted dogs, and I saw the most amazing thing. They started to chase that prey at 40 miles an hour, and I ran to catch up. Oh, my hat must have fallen behind. Thought I might have better luck if I just jumped in my research mobile. So I drove ahead, and if I don't crash, get it? Over.
Yes, Professor, I do understand your pun, and I appreciate it. Don't worry about your hat. It's still back here at Base Camp Ward. Over. So don't be alarmed. Professor Ron was not talking about an actual crash. He was talking about a particular group of animals. Now, groups of animals are called many different things. One that we might be all familiar with is a group of dolphins, which is called a pod. A group of zebra is called a dazzle. A group of sea stars is called a constellation, and a group of pandas are called an embarrassment. That's right, you can look that one up, it's true. What do you guys think a crash might be then? Good job, they are rhinos. So the southern white rhino is actually the only living species of rhino that's social. They'll live in crashes of up to 15 individuals. They communicate with each other in many different ways through snorts, grunts, and even sometimes the guys will scream at each other. They also communicate with each other in another unique way with something called a midden. Now a midden is going to be something like a community bathroom, so they'll all poop in the same area. Another rhino of the group can come up and sniff it or even lick it. I know, kind of gross. However, they do gain so much information from it. They can tell how old the rhino is, if it's a male or female, if it's pregnant, sick, all that jazz. We're coming up on the rhino right here. The This is going to be our male rhino that we have here. He's about 6,500 pounds. As much as rhinos like to identify each other by their poop, we like to identify them by their horns, which are made of keratin. It's the same thing that's in your hair and fingernails, so just like we have hairdos, they have horndews. They can file their horn on just about anything, rocks, trees, fences, just about any research vehicles, yeah. Yeah, that is Professor Ron's research vehicle. Before I give him a quick call, if anyone on the passenger side, you want to stand up and get a good look at those rhinos, you're more than welcome to. But I'm going to just make sure that he's doing okay. Professor Ron, this is Research Assistant Sarah. I'm here with the interns once again at your research vehicle, and it looks pretty beat up. Are you sure you're doing okay? Over.
I'm okay. The rhinos decided to use my research mobile to file their horn. They got a little overzealous, and one of them punctured my tire.
Both tires.
I went the rest of the way on foot. I must have left my binoculars behind by accident. Oh no! But I definitely did not need them to see the animal up ahead. It's huge! I'm almost back to the loading dock, so I should see you guys there soon. Over!
Alright, Professor Ron, we're really glad you're doing okay, and your shoes are still back here as well. Okay, well, we're glad that he's doing okay. We're going to go ahead and move on and see what else we can find. Julia, if you want to go ahead and move on. We're going to be moving into elephant country on the elephant highway, or I like to call it our elephant runway. Now, these are going to be the African bush elephants. Elephants are the largest land animal in the entire world. They can grow up to be about 14,000 pounds. However, the male that you see on the passenger side of the vehicle is about 10,000 pounds. That is still more than this truck and all of us on it combined. On the driver's side of the vehicle, you'll see all of the females forming a herd. Females will stay in a herd their entire life, and they're part of something called a matriarch. The matriarch, or head of the herd, is going to be the oldest and wisest female of the group. So for all the ladies out there, you are in charge. Elephants communicate in over 200 different ways. One of the most unique ways that they communicate with each other, however, is with something called infrasound. Now, infrasound is such a low frequency that we cannot hear it with our own ears. It goes all the way from their ears down into their feet, into the ground, and miles away for other elephants to pick up so that they know that they're there. They're also one of the most intelligent animals, as they're one of the only ones that can recognize themselves in a mirror. Coming up on our elephant gates, please keep everything inside the vehicle for me. All arms, legs, heads, children. We're going to be moving into our research part of the preserve. This is where a lot of the magic happens. Turning over to the driver's side, you'll see our elephant night house, in which the elephants go in at night. And they can decide in the morning where they kind of want to hang out for the day. Now, something very special about our elephant night house is that it can withstand a Category 5 hurricane. That's right. And we can also heat up and cool down the floor in there with water pipes going underneath the ground to keep our elephants comfortable, as well as they can voluntarily participate in training. Coming up, I want to direct everyone's attention to this big blue dumpster. You might be able to smell it before you can see it. That's right, elephants eat up to 300 pounds a day, which means they poop about 300 pounds a day. But they only digest about 20% of it, so most of it comes out the same way it goes in. Don't worry, you'll get familiar with that though, because the first step of an internship is the pooper scooper. Coming up on the passenger side of the vehicle, you'll see a string of yellow buildings. This is part of our Jack Arlene Foundation Animal Care Campus, in which our animals receive top-notch care to keep them safe and healthy. Coming up, we also are going to be looking at our giraffe night house that's on the driver's side of the vehicle. Now, giraffes are known as the watchtowers of the savannah because they are so tall. They will see a predator in the distance, and if you ever see a giraffe running, make sure that you start running too. On on the passenger side of the vehicle, we'll have our Catherine Lowry Veterinarian Hospital, where our animals receive top care in order to keep them healthy. We do make house calls, however, for the animals that cannot make it to the hospital for whatever reason, their size or anything else. We have our Sandy and Tom Callahan Center for Wildlife Conservation, in which Professor Ron does all of his presentations there. And then last but certainly not least, we have our Animal Nutrition Center. Now, as interns, you might get a little peckish at night, so if you do want a late night snack, you're more than welcome to go into the Animal Nutrition Center. However, be careful. Make sure that you pick from the human fridge and not the animal fridge, because although the popsicles look the same, they are not. Coming through the last stretch of our orientation, it's going to be an extremely tight squeeze, so please keep everything inside the vehicle. Next up, we're going to be looking for another species of antelope here out on the preserve. It's a lowland Nyala. You'll see them in that back far corner. Now, the lowland Nyala also have that cinnamon color with the white stripes going down it, which helps them camouflage inside the greenery. Lowland Nyala also communicate with each other very similarly to the North American white-tailed deer. They have a white patch underneath their tail, and they'll flick it up anytime they feel threatened to alert everyone around them that there's danger around and we should probably all go run and hide. You might also be able to see the male right there. He's the tall, dark, and handsome, and he looks drastically different from the females and juvenile males. That's because of something called sexual dimorphism, in which when the male and female of the species reach maturity, they look drastically different, but they are the same species. You can see one right there if you look over. Next up, we have our Aldabra tortoises. Aldabra tortoises are the second largest species of tortoise in the entire world. They do share a symbiotic relationship with birds, in which they stretch out their necks and legs, invite birds to land on them and eat the parasites, so you can kind of think of it as a buffet for the birds and a spa day for the tortoises. They can live over 100 years old as well. We got Big Al right there walking. Next up, we're going to be able to see our Galapagos tortoises. Now, Galapagos tortoises are from the Galapagos Islands in South America, not Africa. However, Professor Ron brought them here so that we can compare research. They are the largest species of tortoise in the world, and they have a similar symbiotic relationship with finches. Lastly, we have our Homo sapien habitat. We might be able to glance at a few. You can wave if you like, but most of them do not wave back unless they're highly trained. Alright, well, it looks like we're approaching the loading dock and we didn't get a chance to catch up with Professor Ron today. However, let's see if he left us some last words today for our orientation. He's a busy man, he does a lot, he crams his schedule. He's probably out on the preserve running around again for the millionth time, but let's check in with him one last time.
Hi, interns! I'm so sorry I missed you out there, but congratulations on completing your orientation today. I'm so excited to have you on our team. I had your certificates in my desk, of course. Alas, I must have left them somewhere behind. I'll have to go out and find them. After all, every day is a new adventure here at the Hawaii Blizzard. I hope you have enjoyed learning about these magnificent animals and how they interact with one another. It is my hope that you will share your newfound knowledge with others and continue learning how we can all work together to protect wildlife everywhere. Safe travels, everyone, and thanks for visiting the Hawaii.
Alright, I hope you've all enjoyed our intern orientation that we got to complete today. I'm going to ask a really big favor. Everyone, please stay seated until I give you the all clear. We've got a 4-foot drop back there, and we don't want to learn that the hard way. If you are interested in learning more about ZooTampa at Lowry Park's conservation effort, there is a QR code that you can scan to the left of the exit. I highly recommend that you do so you can learn more about how we protect our animals here. Stay seated for me, stay seated for me. Thank you very much. Did anyone have a favorite animal that they saw today? What's that? The elephants. I do like the elephants. What about you? The turtles. Tortoise, yes.